Good morning, good morning, good morning, guys. How is everybody doing? It is a Tuesday morning. Today is March 19th. We'll be posting this the same day. It has been a while. I think my last podcast, I posted that podcast on, I want to say I posted that early February. Yeah, I want to say I posted that podcast early February, but today's podcast, we're back at it again. Another amazing podcast for you guys. I missed you guys so much. So what we'll be talking about today is pretty much a life update. Whenever I go in a rut, whenever it's been a while since I've made a podcast, the best way to just get back in the game is having a life update, because life be lifing, and that's pretty much the reason why it's been a while. So we're doing this life update. So first thing I wanted to address is I'm doing well. Hello, all the new subscribers to my new podcast page, Mikkel's Podcast on YouTube. I think we grew over 600 new subscribers from different HBCUs and whatnot. Because we did a little HBCU tour or whatever. So, just spreading the word, teaching people about financial literacy and stuff like that, teaching people about growth development, GDA. That's the company I'm affiliated with. If you guys want to also learn about financial literacy, you can look up growthdevelopment.com and you can find the decisions course that I'm taking currently, and we could take it together. Or if you want to have me send you the link directly, you could just contact me on Instagram at Mikkel16_ and just shoot me a DM saying, I found you through YouTube, or DM me in the comments, send a comment, because this is going to go up on the YouTube podcast as well. Just send me a comment saying, I want to learn about financial literacy, and I'll send you all the information on how to get connected with me, and I'll send you all the special links because I actually have a discount code for the course. So now that that's out the way, time for the life update. What the F have I been up to? So, last week, I, as you guys know, I'm thinking about buying a house. And I know what you're thinking, Mikkel, you're 22. Who's buying a house at 22? Nobody's doing this. Where's this coming from? I don't know. I just feel like, I just really need a house right now. And it's kind of the podcast is going to lead into why I feel like I really need a house. But I just really feel like I need a house. So I just recently opened 2 new bank accounts or whatever. And with one of my bank accounts, I was opening it. And as I was opening it, they had told me they are having some type of home ownership. Sorry if there's a jet in the background, if you hear that background noise. But like I was saying, they were having some type of home ownership seminar. So pretty much what the bank was going to have is some lenders come through and have some realtors come through. And lenders are pretty much the people that loan the money out. They're the middleman. And with realtors, they're the person that finds your home. If you don't know what a realtor is, they're the person that goes out, you tell them what you want in a home. This is my number. You're going to get that pre-approval letter, and then the realtor is going to go to work and find you a home. So, yeah, I learned so much going to that seminar, and I'm so happy I went. Thank you to the lady that invited me to that seminar. She might actually be listening to this because I think I gave her the podcast. So maybe she might be listening to this, but here's your shout out. So But I went to this seminar teaching people about home buying, all that good stuff. The realtors were there. I just said their name. The loan officers were there. And the loan officers was just pretty much explaining to us their job in the home buying process, which is, first of all, I'm pretty much going to tell you everything I learned. So first thing I learned is you kind of want to have all your ducks in order, all right? So you want to have all your monies in order. You want to have your income in order. You just want to have all your affairs in order, right? Then any extra loose cash you have, they was saying, if you have any cash in your sofa and your mama's sofa or any of all that, you want to have all that in your account somewhere because they need to be able to see it because You tell me one number, but when I run that hard, report or whatever, that audit on your everything, we're going to find out how much money you really have. You know what I'm saying? So you need to have all your monies in your bank accounts first and foremost, because you want to get that pre-approval letter, that by all means, because that means you get approved for your loan and you're going to get your monies. So you want to have that. And then second, you want to have a good credit score. So all you girlies out here, buying things left and right on credit, just make sure you pay your credit back at the end of the month, because that good credit score, you don't want your credit to be affected, because they'll be looking at that too. Because it's like, how can I trust you? The loan officer doesn't know you from a can of paint. So it's like, how can I trust you and knowing that you're going to pay this loan back, and can you afford this loan? So that's another thing. They're going to need to see like at least 2 years of work history minimum. 2 years of work history. They're going to need pay stubs. They're going to need all that stuff. W-2s. They're going to need to see all that. They're going to need to see that you're paying taxes on this. Like, we need to make sure there's some legitimate money. You know what I mean? Like, so all the nail techs and stuff, y'all doing your Cash Apps and Zells and stuff like that, you got to report all that, unfortunately. You got to report all that, because, your loan officer is your friend. We're here to help you. You know what I mean? And, just for some transparency, I'm banking with Navy Federal. They have some special programs, that will actually like help Navy Federal users get pre-approved faster than like your conventional bank or whatever. So that's just a shout out to Navy Federal. But definitely you need all your ducks in order. You need your cash in your bank accounts. You need 2 years work history. You need to make sure you have the income matching the numbers you're telling them. And you need to make sure you have your W-2s, all that good stuff. You're paying your taxes. And then once we see all that or whatever, me putting myself in the loan officer's shoes, now we can work with you. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to get that pre-approval letter. Get the pre-approval letter. And there's a verified pre-approval letter, which is like a even better pre-approval letter versus like your typical pre-approval. Like a verified one means that I forgot the name of that person. It's in my notes, but there's a certain person that goes over it. I think it's like appraisal. Somebody goes over it, and that means you're golden. Like, you give that to a realtor. Any house you see on the market, you got your number now. You can make an offer, and then it's going to get instantly approved by the bank because you already have the pre-approval letter. So like, they're already like, we're good. We can work with you. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's why it's important to have that credit score. Now, some questions I asked them, I was like, because I had questions, of course. So I asked them one question at first. I was like, what was the lowest interest rate someone's ever been locked in at that you've seen recently? You know what I mean? Because you want to lock yourself into a low interest rate when you're buying a home, And they were like, we haven't seen interest rates lower than 6-7%. Like, that's like the starting. And like somebody like me, who we're being transparent. My credit score is currently in the like high sevens. You know what I'm saying? In like the middle, I say middle pack sevens. Let's say middle pack. I'm in the middle pack sevens as a credit score. That's pretty good. That's better than 75% of America. So I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, maybe I'll get locked in at like a 4 or 3% interest rate or whatever. So that's less money I have to pay back on my loan, But, even with that, like, I guess the state of the market is just so bad, and like inflation's just so bad. Like, people are getting locked in at still high interest rates, even with a good credit score. Now, granted, it could be worse. It could be worse. Like, see, like somebody like me, I think I'm gonna get a fair number because my credit score, versus somebody with like a 5 or 6 or whatever, they're gonna be paying more. So like, it could be worse, and you should always think about it like that, versus just like, oh, I'm not getting all my money's worth. I'm not getting all my money's worth. Like, no, it could have been worse. So yeah, that was nice, because everybody in the room laughed when I said like, oh, I think I could get locked in at 4 or 3%. It was like, we haven't seen 4 or 3% in 20 years. I was like, oh, Dang. But you could always, if you get a better offer from another bank, they will actually, they will look over it, compare it, and if the offer actually is better, then Navy will actually match it. Or like at least they'll have somebody that will go over both offers and like kind of compare and contrast, just so you can like really see like the real breakdown of like what Navy Federal is offering versus the competitor, which is a nice service that Navy Federal offers. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes like, because like I asked another question, I was like, well, I know you guys have to make your money back and stuff like that. So it's like, is there like some type of bias on like how much interest rates you guys are doing? Because I know you guys want to make your money at the end of the day too. And they were like, no, everything's pretty much standard by the book. Like they don't get paid by hiking up people's interest rates and like, trying to really like, guarantee that they're going to get their money back. Like none of that. They're not doing all of that as like the loan officer. So like that kind of like made me feel better. Like just knowing that like they're not trying to make a buck off of you, locking you into a home that you can't afford. Like they're not going to give you something you can't afford. You know what I mean? Just for the sake of them making their money back. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of what I was trying to hint at. Like you're not going to set me up, right? Like they're not going to set you guys up because like of course you're going to want this, but they're going to tell you this is what you can afford. So that's good to know, because if you tell somebody I'll give you this, even though I know you can't afford it, I'm going to give it to you anyway because I know you're going to be locked in forever, then, you don't have my best interest at heart. So that was also really good to know. What else did I learn from them? I learned a lot. Like I learned from start to finish how to get a home. Start with getting your ducks in order, getting your monies in order, getting your big down payment in order. Like I asked this lady, I was like, what was the largest down payment you've ever seen somebody make on a home? And the lady was like, the largest down payment she's seen was like six something on like $1 million home. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So that was the largest down payment ever like she's seen personally. But then again, they're seeing people's bank accounts all day. So they're seeing millionaires, this, that, and the third, or whatever. But I want to be one of them people. Like I want to be one of them ones that's doing like the large down payment just so that I'm not having to deal with all the fees, especially like in the state I want to live in, Maryland or whatever. The fees be up the wazoo. Like when I'm talking like HOA fees, insurance, homeowners insurance, federal estate tax, and it's a bunch of tax that they be taxing in Maryland or whatever, and like it's just the price you got to pay living out here. You know what I'm saying? But it's a price I'm willing to pay because I want to be in the mix. I want to raise a family out here. Like this is where I grew up, so my mind's pretty much made up. As far as like that goes. What I call it? Yeah, because I don't know. I lived in Florida for a little bit of time, and I was like, it's nice, but it's not what I grew up with. So it's too foreign to me. Even though the weather is really nice though, but it'd be like me just starting over from scratch. I don't know, but yeah, what I call it? After that course, I just felt like so knowledgeable. And granted, like I went in with some prior knowledge because I'm taking the. All right, I don't know where it stopped at, but like I was saying, I'm in the process of buying a house now. All right, first of all, I want to just give a quick shout out. Sorry guys, just shout out to my family. A little later in the podcast, you'll understand why, but just shout out to my family real quick because family is so important, and you guys really need to like love your family because like your family is really all you got in this world. At the end of the day, like friends are cool and everything. But it's like that blood bond is like, nothing like it. But just shout out to them. But yeah, I want to buy a home one day. I want to buy a home soon, like really soon, like within the next 2 years maybe. But I just finished the home ownership section of my decisions course. And how do I feel post finishing the course? Like, what are my feelings post finishing? I finished like 2 days ago, and I feel smart AF. Like I feel so smart when it comes to home buying. I feel like I know everything it takes to buy a home. I feel like I know how I can maximize my money to buy a home sooner rather than later. And like, I just have my mind made up. Like, I just have a blueprint. Like, I feel like when you take the course, you're going to know more than you need to know. Like, you're going to know all the answers, all the cheat sheets. It's like feeling like you're overqualified for a test. Like, the test of life is like a hard test. Don't get me wrong. But like when you actually like take the time to like invest in your like financial literacy and stuff like that, and like you take a course like this, you feel overqualified for the test of life to the point where it's like you just look at certain things like, you know, life milestones like, oh, one day I want to be able to afford a dream car, or oh, one day I want to be able to afford a dream house or something like that. It's very much to attain it. It's you can attain those things sooner rather than later when you invest in your financial literacy and like learning how to do these kind of things. Like me thinking about buying a home, I was thinking about buying a home. Old me would have been like, oh, I will probably buy a home like in my 30s or 40s. You know, I'd rather rent. You know, I don't want to be locked up somewhere, locked up in a home. You know, because we're young people. We don't want to be locked up somewhere. We don't have that flexibility. I want to be able to live wherever, bounce around, live in this city, live in that city, live in da. You want to buy a home tomorrow. After you're taking this course, you're going to be overqualified for the test of life, and you want to buy a home tomorrow. And you want to buy a home you can afford tomorrow, and you want to pay it off tomorrow. Now, granted, I'm speaking in hyperboles, like, you know, but you want to buy a home ASAP. Like, after this podcast is over, whatever age you want to be, let's buy that home within the next 5 years. Let's save a boatload of money if you're living with your parents. Let's buy a home in the next 5 years. And when I say save, I mean save like your life depends on it. You do that for 5 years, you buy a home in cash. That's pretty much what I learned from the course, pretty much. And like, granted, you know, they're telling you to buy a home in 15, 30 years. Just, you know, they're showing you all the ways home buying can make you money. You know, there's 7 ways home buying can make you money. You know, and I can't tell you guys the ways because you got to take the course. You know, but just DM me on, you know, Instagram on Mikkel16_ or shoot me a comment in the messages, of course, if you want the course. But like, they're telling you 7 ways to make you money, and you actually get some bonus ways at the end of the course that, you know, tell you how to make money and like save to buy a down payment for a home. Like, I give you guys one, but don't tell them I did this. All right. So one way is if you have a wedding, if you have a registry for wedding gifts, you know, typically people just want regular gifts. Instead of asking for regular gifts, just do a GoFundMe. Just do a GoFundMe for a down payment for a home. So have all your wedding guests contribute to your GoFundMe for a down payment for your home. And that matters way more than just, you know, a toaster. You know what I mean? And like just stuff like that. Like, I'm just like, they are thinking outside the box, people. Like, y'all need to get this course yesterday. Like, it is so important. And like, that's pretty much what I learned from the course. And that's what I've taken from the course. Like, I'm excited for the next section of the course and, you know, these next couple podcasts and how those are going to sound and stuff like that. Cause I feel like we've been on the home buying course for almost 2 months now. Like, it's not going to take that long to get through courses going forward or whatever. But the home buying section definitely changed my whole warping of the world. And like, I like how this course is kind of structured in a way where it's like, first we're going to teach you about budgeting, then we're going to teach you about credit, and then we're going to teach you about home buying, because all these things kind of coincide with one another. Because first you got to save your money, then you got to build wealth by having a good credit score. Once you have your good credit score, now we can talk about buying a home. So things are just kind of just like, you know, once you start learning about financial literacy, you're going to start seeing like how all these things intertwine with one another. They all play a role within one another. Like, it's kind of like the human body, you know, with me being a scientist and stuff like that. I'm understanding how, like, you know, everything is one thing. Like, the nervous system controls so many things, you know what I mean? So, like, they all coincide. But, yeah, that's what I take away from the home buying section. Please take the course, people. I'm telling you, this isn't for me. Like I'm set. Like my life is set. I want y'all to have y'all life set. So yeah. Next life update is how am I doing personally with my finances? Where's the money coming from? How are we doing financially? How's work? The long age question your parents ask you, grandparents ask you, every family member is going to ask you this question at every gathering for the rest of your life. Well, how's work? How's work? Well, work has been great. Work has been working. I am currently working at an optometrist office because, as you guys know, I want to be an optometrist one day, so I'm working at an optometrist office. I'm gaining my clinical hours. I'm getting paid as well. All my coworkers are very nice. I'm making my pension. I'm making a good pension. So that is fun. I am currently also working remote, working for a GDA, teaching you guys about financial literacy. Who do you think is sponsoring these podcasts? Who is sponsoring these podcasts? The GDA is sponsoring these podcasts. Now, granted, I still talk about my own life, but you see how I'm able to sprinkle in a little financial tidbit here and there, telling you about this and telling you about that. That's what they want. They want me to just pretty much take the course, become financially literate, and tell people how, being financially literate plays a role in my daily life. And you guys listen to the podcast, you take what I say literally, and you're like, you know what, maybe I should get on the boat of financial literacy and make some money my dang self too. So it's everything's coinciding, so that's how everything's going money wise, right? So I have those two jobs, GDA, this podcast is being sponsored, and just my optometry job, that's a good job as well. Now, those two incomes, and I'm trying to make an Airbnb or whatever, trying to get that up and running. Haven't made any listings yet, but we're trying to learn how to do all that. So that's a potential third job, I guess you can say, quote unquote. But we're trying to get that up and running. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, still haven't got no listings yet, but it's okay. I'm staying positive or whatever like that. But just saying that I accomplished that and having that third job is nice. Now, granted, since I'm only working 3 days a week, optometry, and then my GDA job is remote, I do want to pick up 2 more jobs. So currently applying for other jobs, to fill in those other 4 days and stuff. And guys, all right, you guys don't know this, and I probably shouldn't be telling anybody this, but I'm trying to make 6 figures this year. So if I have to work my butt off or whatever, really work uncomfortably, because I just want to see a number. Since I have this gap year, and I won't be going to optometry school till 2025, I just want to see if I can make a certain number. And my number is 6 figures. That's what we're aiming for. If we can make it, plans might change, because I might just run that back and just do it again. So I just want to see something though. Because say I don't make 6 figures and I'm drained out of my mind and I'm like, you know what? I need to just go to school and just do school and continue on doing that and pedaling along, then I'll do that. But granted, if I feel fine and my mind is fine, I kept my sanity, then I'm just going to run it back, So that's where we're at on that. But what is my last life update? What is my current debt life like? What is my current debt speaking? Because we're talking a lot of numbers, but currently, what is my debt? How much debt do I really have? So I currently have a $3,500 balance on my student debt. So I went to Bowie State University, graduated in December. Whoop, shout out to me. However, they need their monies. So I currently owe them $3,500. And I just got a letter in the mail telling me that I owe them that money and I need it paid by the 15th of April, or they will send my monies to a credit bureau and they will affect my credit score and they will literally just send me to jail. They're not going to send me to jail literally, but it's going to affect my credit score. I'm going to have to owe them interest on it, so I'll be paying more money, and it's just going to be one big mess. And that's why I gave a shout out to my freaking family, because I literally made a couple phone calls, and tell me why we are already almost at our goal of the $3,500, literally through a couple phone calls. And that's what I'm telling you guys, family over everything, because with family, there's nothing, And I just started watching this new show on Netflix called The Family Business. And in that show or whatever, it's pretty much just like talking about family business and like just keeping the business within the family and just making family your number one priority in this world. You know what I mean? So just within saying that, it's what having those family ties and stuff like that, and like just staying connected with your family, checking up on your family, or all that. You never know when there's going to be a time when you're going to have to rely on them and they can answer the call. And, I'm just fortunate that everybody in my family is in like a good place financially to even be able to supplement the monies for me or whatever. So it's just like, just love on your family. That's all I'm preaching. If you take nothing from this podcast, take the course, learn something new, learn something. Because like I'm talking to 25-year-olds and 26-year-olds, and I'm going to be in a better financial situation than them at 22. So, take that away from the course, but also take away like just love your family, because I'm telling you, that is a safety net like no other. And, when you have to call upon them, they will answer the call, with a smile. So like my family has come through clutch today. Like literally, I was freaking out this morning when I saw that debt. I was like, oh my God, I knew I owed them money, but I didn't know how soon I had to pay them back. So like seeing that letter just kind of like scared me. So like the fact that my family was able to come through with the monies and we're about to be able to pay it off, I'm probably going to pay it off either, if not this week, next week. But it's definitely going to be paid off before the 15th of April. And that's my current debt ratio. That's all the debt I have in life. I have no other debt but that. And like as far as bills, the only bill I have is like my car insurance is currently $95. But they just sent me a letter in the mail. They say they're bumped my car insurance up to $133. So I need to call Progressive. I need to call Progressive and ask them, why are you increasing my insurance? Because I did nothing wrong. I didn't hit nobody. Like, what the heck? So I'm going to call them and figure that out. But besides that or whatever, because like that's the one thing they're going to teach you about the course and stuff. They're going to be like, you need to have everything be as cheap as possible. Like your bills should not be expensive. And if they are expensive, you need to find somebody else that can do the job for cheaper. So like with Progressive, like, yeah, they say I owe them, like next month it's going to be $95, but then in May it's going to roll over to $133. So yeah, they say $133, but I could get a quote from another insurance company for lower. And if I tell them I got this quote from another insurance company, then they're going to either tell them like, okay, we can match that, or they're going to be like, okay, you can just take that quote. Because you can just take that quote. Like you don't owe nobody your business. You know what I'm saying? That's the nice thing about life, And once you like become a boss and like learn about financial literacy, you're like, you can take your business elsewhere, if the numbers ain't right. So that's been the life update. I have 1 minute left before I have to get up out of here or whatever. But I love you guys. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. This was a quick episode, quick turnaround, great episode. I'll be back next week. My camera, I don't have my camera currently, but I'm going to have my camera next week. So who knows? We might have a video podcast for the first podcast of the new course section of Decisions, Financial Literacy. If you want more information, like I said, just shoot me a DM on Instagram at Mikkel16_. I can give you the course. I can give you the discount code for the course. The course is only $99, but with my discount code, I can get the course for you for only $90. Like that is a significant difference. And if you've been to college, you'll know college courses are a lot more expensive than $90. So you definitely want to take this course. It's cheaper than any college course. Thank you guys. Have a good one.